What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Mental Groove. Tonight, a 22-year-old calls in to challenge Kevin on high value men, but the conversation quickly turns when her real agenda comes out. Let's get into it.
Casey, go ahead. I'm good. What you got for me?
I have a couple of questions, or a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. But first, I just want to, you talked about the HSV. I'm assuming you're talking about herpes. Herpes type 1.
Yeah, I try not to say the word because it triggers the
sorry.
algorithm. Yeah.
90% of Americans have it, and you can get it on your genitals. It's better to get it on your genitals, and you will usually only have one outbreak. So it's not true that will ruin your dating outlook. You can get the cold sore on your genitals. I think was misinformation. But going on from that, I want to say, you talk about how little there are, like how the small number of high value men there are. And I'm wondering, when you're telling women this, are you also factoring in white men, Hispanic men? Are you just assuming that black women only want to date black men that are high value?
Casey, you have a point of view, okay? And are you a swirler?
I am an advocate for black women dating out. There have been two white doctors.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Then at least do me the honor of being blunt. That's what you are, and that's fine. But I think you have me pegged in the category of a foe or an adversary, and I'm not. So I don't know where you got your information from or why you feel like you need to come correct me about what I'm saying to black women, but they understand what I'm saying just fine. If you're an advocate for black women dating out, good. But most people want to be with their own group. But to answer your question in particular, I don't really make a separation between high value black, white. That's if you listened, Blake Henry, Brad, Lee, Ahmed, Keith, and Enrique. That covers the entire gamut. Okay. A person should become the best version of themselves and pick from whatever they choose is their preference. But the stark reality is this. Mm-hmm. When a black man chooses to become high value, there are far fewer matching black women. Because first off, the fitness characteristic. And if you are an advocate for dating out, I'm quite sure you are familiar with some of the largest content providers on this YouTube platform. And she even said she had to stop. One of them said she had to stop talking about the fitness component to her people when she's an advocate for getting the highest caliber men of any race. Said it right here on this channel. So due respect, I think you're trying to put me in a position that I won't fit.
Okay, I'm not really trying to do that. I just want to make sure that when you're speaking to black women,
you kind of are.
It's important for black women to know that they have options.
No, ma'am, it's important. First off, what is important is this is a man's channel. That's what this is. So I've allowed you to
also, speak. I just want to touch on
No, you're not going to jump over top. No. That's what you're not going to do. See, this is what tends to happen. When I allow people to speak, you think you can say what you want. If you want to advocate for women, advocate for women. This is a man's channel. So if you can comport yourself like everyone else seems to be, fine. If not, I'll bid you a good night, man.
Okay. Also, I just want to say that you speak a lot about black women being overweight and how Gen Z black men are not even looking at black women.
Is 80? Okay, ma'am. According to all the data that we have, 80% of black women are overweight. Is that true or false?
This is true. I'm saying that you don't speak about...
Okay, ma'am, stop. Then it's not that I speak about it. It's a statement of fact and observable reality. See, what you're doing is being disingenuous. It's not as though I'm saying something that's not true. And it's a problem. Here's the problem I have with women like you. You always want there to be balance. Do you go to any of these swirling platforms that demand balance when they're talking about black men? I love to hear you go to any of these dating out platforms and demand for balance.
Okay.
Do
Kevin.
you? Do you?
Yes. Yes,
Who?
I do.
What channel? What channel? What platform? What platform?
With Shara,
With who?
with
Shira 7?
Crystalline, with Shira,
You said
with
with
all
who?
of them.
Hold on, hold.
With
Who was the first
Shira,
one you
with
said?
Crystalline.
Stop. Who was the first one you said?
Shira.
Shira who?
Shira 7.
She's a level up. She's not necessarily talking about interracial dating. Her husband's black. That doesn't,
She has.
ma'am, that's not her platform.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. And so.
No, I'm
my
asking.
point
No,
is, though, that-
I asked you the swirling platforms that you go
okay.
to.
Crystalline.
Okay, you go to Crystalline's platform, and in her live streams and in her comment section, you advocate for her to speak balance about black men.
Yes, because she talks a lot about how a
Right,
lot
I'm going to
are
go
in
check
prison,
that. I'm going
a
to go
lot
check. I'm
leave-
going to go check. No, what I'm going to do is I do my homework, ma'am, because I've actually listened to Crystalline's platform. I've heard of her long before she actually came over here. And here's the thing, ma'am, I never really hear any advocacy for black men. What I do hear is a lot. You talk about what I say. Are we being serious, ma'am? Because if you're honestly trying to have a conversation talking about what I say versus over there, you shouldn't even be speaking.
Yeah, but you bring up the black woman stat, but she brings up the black male stats. You never bring up the incarceration rates,
You see how this goes? This is how this goes. I'm going to ask you one question. And depending on how you answer it, we can either have a conversation or we can't.
Okay.
Why are you here?
I'm just trying to get a better understanding of, like, you list the black women stat a lot, but there are
Why are you here?
I'm getting to
no,
that.
No, I don't need you to get to that. I need you to answer the question, ma'am. I don't need you to
I just
tell
want
me.
you to say the negative black male stats as well.
No. Why are you here?
I want you to talk about the negative black male stats. There are a million.
No.
Why?
Because I don't have to. It's my platform. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. You have a YouTube channel. You go do that.
It's not fair. There's only one negative black woman stats.
I don't care what you think is fair. You don't have to be here. This is not a, see, what you're doing is you're coming to a restaurant, trying to tell the owner what to put on the menu, and you're not buying anything.
Okay. You won't even let me listen to the stats.
I said you're coming to a restaurant, telling the owner what to put on the menu, and you're not buying anything. Does that sound sane?
I did give you a super chat.
Ma'am, you're coming into a restaurant, asking the owner to put something on the menu, telling them what you want on the menu, and you're not buying anything. Meaning, if you're into IR dating, you're not really over here for black men. You're over here to hear me you want me to go ahead and talk about what's been talked about for years. Here's the question for you, Casey. Where are the black women's channels talking about the issues with black women? Because there are plenty of channels talking about issues with black men, and there are plenty of men's channels talking about issues with men and women. Where are the black women's channels talking about issues with black women?
I feel like
I don't care about what you feel. I care about what
I don't know any.
Exactly. Exactly. There you go. So how dare you come over here asking me for balance when you can't even come up with one? In freaking sane. In freaking sane. And this is why I let her talk. You're supposedly interracial dating, but you keep coming over to a black man's platform. Where's your fiance?
I am in my early 20s.
Where's your fiance? Where's your white boyfriend?
Oh, I have one.
Okay, when are you guys getting married? Early 20s meaning what?
I am 22.
22. Why do you have so much angst about black men if you have a white guy? Why aren't you off somewhere being happy on a Friday night with your boyfriend?
Well, I came to your channel because I wanted to
No, ma'am.
see your thoughts.
No. Really, you don't. Because if you did, you would be listening in good faith. Because I'm sorry, nothing that I say is not factually able to be backed up, and it's relatively balanced. I have far more balance than any swirl platform ever. That's a laughable. That is a laughable notion. That is laughable.
You haven't listed any negative black male stats, and you don't talk about.
Excuse me. I have. You really? I'll challenge you. I'll challenge you on that. How long have you been watching me, Casey?
I've been watching you for a couple of weeks now.
A couple of weeks. How long have I been on YouTube, Casey?
How long have you been on YouTube?
I don't know, Casey.
I don't know.
So don't tell me. So really, I have 5 years of content, Casey, and you're going to tell me what I have not done in 2 weeks? You sound like a zip doggone fool. There's content on my channel. Look through the catalog. I'll stand on my work. I've been talking about men for 3+ years, but that's not the legit case. Women like you don't want to have black men, especially like black men like myself, saying anything negative about black women. You cannot take it. Shahrazad Ali talked about this 30+ years ago. You're fine talking about the issues of black men and these dusties and this and that. But when a black man who's a thorough black man, who you can see is on the level of what you're talking about, has the same kind of talks about the facts, it bothers you so much that you leave Swirl Land and your white boyfriend to come over here to tell me what I need to talk about, and you ain't buying nothing from my restaurant. Get up out of here with this bull. Thank you. Come again. Seek therapy. You're too angry to be so young.
This conversation starts off like a debate but quickly becomes about intent. She comes in trying to correct Kevin's stance on high-value men and pushes ideas like dating out and needing balance. But Kevin shuts that down early. From his perspective, she's not really there to learn or ask for guidance. She's there to argue a position. As the conversation goes on, she keeps shifting topics, bringing up weight, interracial dating, and then eventually admitting she wants to talk about men's negative behavior. That's the turning point. Kevin calls that out directly. His issue isn't just what she's saying, but why she's there. If you come into a space meant for one purpose and try to redirect it without contributing, it creates friction. The restaurant analogy he uses sums it up. Coming in with demands without actually engaging in the intended process doesn't work. The deeper issue here is alignment and intent. Conversations only work when both sides are operating from the same purpose. Otherwise, it turns into conflict instead of clarity. The takeaway: if you enter a space to challenge instead of understand, the conversation is likely to go nowhere.